All right, we are on air. It is January 14th. Happy 2016 again, everyone. We're just going to do a quick review of outstanding design-related issues and then talk about fun stuff. So, Backdrop 1.3 is coming out tomorrow, so that's definitely the most exciting thing we should be talking about. We have done a ton of fantastic stuff in 1.3 already. Maybe not that much that's design related, but there's a whole bunch that's like user experience related. We've done a bunch of cleanup of terminology. We've reorganized the nav. We've fixed a whole bunch of layout related stuff. We've added a bunch of new features. I think like bit by bit it's getting much better, so I'm super excited about that. In terms of the main things that we're working on, we had a couple of layout UI related tasks in terms of cleaning up like the drag and drop interface, and some of that we didn't actually get to. There's a meta issue of all of the layout issues. Later today I'm going to go through, after this meeting, I'm going to go through and prune the 1.3 tag and make sure that if there's stuff in there that we aren't actually going to get to, it gets removed so you can kind of get a better idea of what is going to go into 1.3 tomorrow. But I don't think we're going to get much farther on layout UI. But I do want to mention that we should keep working on it because user experience related changes can go in at any time. As long as it isn't like a complete rewrite of something, we can usually put in little improvements constantly. Field UI. Another huge problem space we've dealt with in Drupal for a really long time, probably not going to get in by 1.3. There's just too much thinking and writing code and testing that needs to happen before tomorrow. But the good news on that is that Field UI is a separate module. And so we could very easily develop something in Contrib that involves turning off core Field UI, turning on Contrib Field UI, and when we get that ready, we can just create an issue to put that new solution into core. So that isn't something that necessarily needs to stop making progress on just because we can't get it in by tomorrow. And I think it's still a good use of our time to try and figure out how to make that process less painful. What is really close is the project browser. So this is the tool that lets you install a new module, theme, or layout directly from within your Backdrop site. You can go to the install page, and then you can see a list of all of the available modules, themes, and layouts and install them. I did a bunch of testing on the tool yesterday, and I was so impressed with how fantastic it was just to be able to click a button and say install and have it be on your site. Unfortunately, the user interface and the interaction pattern for actually working with Project Browser in its state now is just not super slick. We already have an install page where you can like copy and paste in a URL, and we're adding to that a second page, which is the browser page. And I kind of think we just need to tap it on one page where it's like you can either use this browser and click this button or paste a link into this, it's just, and it needs to be part of you want to install a new module, go to this page, choose one and put it in, rather than like a separate kind of standalone thing. And the reason it's developed that way is because obviously, this has been an issue for Drupal for a really long time, and it was easiest to just kind of build something new. But I think before we put it in, it needs to be incorporated into what's already there. So that's something that would be great if we could figure out how to make that more seamless. The code also is a bit messy, and we've got to spend some time cleaning that up. I'm not sure that's going to get in by tomorrow either, but I would love to see that because I think that would be a huge user experience win if people did not have to leave their website to install a module or theme or layout that's not already there. We also decided in the last few weeks that we want to put in both a new front-end theme to Backdrop 1.4 as well as a new set of front-end layouts, or I guess layouts in general. They could be used on front or back. So 1.3 comes out tomorrow. Our next focus is going to be trying to figure out how to solve this front-end theme problem for all of our next release cycle, we've got a big test to figure out whether we take something from Contrib and put it in core, or take something new based on something that's in Contrib and try and create that approach. We have a couple of good suggestions. People like the idea of using something that's Bootstrap based. So there's a Bootstrap theme for Drupal. We have a Radix theme already for Backdrop. They both are going to need a little work to go into core, but I think that getting something usable for people who first install Backdrop is going to be super key. So I think that would definitely be high on our hit list for not only getting something bootstrappy, but also fairly pretty in core. 1.4 would be great. There's a whole bunch of other little things going on in 1.3 that I think maybe aren't worth spending a bunch of time talking about right now, unless, I don't know, Wes, you've been making a bunch of progress on like responsive tabs and stuff. I think those all went in. Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of little tiny things that are adding up to kind of make Backdrop really slick. So I just want to say, like, thank you for all of the amazing work there. But yeah, there I think is not a lot left in the 1.3 queue that we need to worry about right now. Let's see.
Before we move on out of the 1.3, I do think that we should celebrate, which is what we're talking about in the chat here in the Hangout at the same time. We should celebrate the new responsive tabs across the top of the page because they are awesome. And so we're really excited. That's probably one of the more noticeable things in 1.3, combined with the responsive vertical tabs. And those were in 1.2, weren't they? Or
no, they went into like 1.2.3 or 1.2.2, I think.
Okay, well, in any case, it's pretty epic now. The combination of the tabs at the top and the vertical tabs at the bottom, it makes for a really awesome experience on all sizes. The mobile size support both for vertical tabs and the normal tabs is just really excellent. Like, it really like went the extra mile there. Not just making it, a smaller version of the bigger version, but actually making a new pattern for smaller screens is just really pretty awesome. Oh yeah, Wes says, and the Views UI. The Views UI is also responsive, but we'll put that one in quotes, responsive. And that basically it's, everything fits on the page now in Views UI, but, Views UI is just such a monster, it's really hard. It would be really difficult to navigate. But it is possible to navigate on a phone if you really wanted to, and everything fits on the screen. So, yeah. Anyway, great job. Just iterations like that are what is so exciting about having minor releases, that we just keep making little minor improvements, and they all just keep adding up. And it also means that these things that we didn't get done, well, we've got 4 more months, maybe next time. Okay, sorry, that's all I wanted to say, was to celebrate the things that we did get done in 1.3, which are still really awesome.
Okay. So next on our major list is the backdropcms.org website, and we've made a bunch of progress here lately, but I think we need we did a lot of like push it up, get it out. It would be great to do a little iteration on that too. I know we have 1.3 coming out tomorrow. I'm not expecting anyone to do any iteration on backdropcms.org before tomorrow, but it would be great. We're going to send a newsletter probably next week. It would be great if we could get these things cleaned up before the newsletter goes out, just so that we can have everybody looking at Backdrop with fresh eyes, because 1.3 is out, and then see all of the cool new stuff on our website and have it look better than just today. We added a profile page, so thank you, Darius, for doing a fantastic design on that. I've gotten a bunch of great feedback on that. I really, really love the like banner image thing. It kind of lets everybody put their own personality into the website a little bit, and I think that shows a little bit more of the community angle, which is something that makes me personally really excited. So that's fantastic. Definitely one of those things where I never would have thought of it, and Darius is like, we should do this, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So great. I know right now we've turned on the access to the admin theme for anyone who's editing their user profile, because we want to do a little bit of cleanup on the edit form. I don't know, Wes, if you've had any chance to work on that yet, but I think it would be great if we could get that cleaned up too. I think the way we have it now is perfectly fine. It can stay that way as long as it needs to. But it is a little bit jarring when you go to edit your profile page to be kind of popped out of the context of the rest of the site. You lose your navigation, you lose the branding, and then when you hit save, you get popped back into it. That is how Drupal works. That's how Backdrop works. People are going to be expecting that, so I think it's fine. But I think it would be better if we could get our front end theme to look as good as our back end theme, and when people are editing forms. And this will also come in handy when we start giving people access to do other things on the rest of the site, like adding sites to the showcase or submitting their own profile into our directory of companies that provide Backdrop services. All of that, there's just going to be a lot of forms involved, and I would love to not have to have people keep going back and forth between the front end theme and the back end theme, if possible. If that gets really hard, this is, of course, always a good fallback. So that's one thing on our to-do list is to clean that up. Again, no necessary deadline on that, but just kind of would be nice to do that. And profile page is up. We've done a bunch of tweeting, and I wrote a blog post last week, and everybody's using it. We've got a bunch of new users coming in, so that is super exciting. Speaking of blog posts, one of the things we decided to change in our mentality for 2016 was to try and do a really good a job of updating our community as to what's going on. We do a pretty good job of having these meetings every week, but not everybody follows the meetings, and people sometimes go back to the website, and if they don't see anything going on the website, they think nothing's going on. So we're trying to do a better job of tweeting more, blogging more, sending more newsletters, just trying to keep in touch with our people and let them know what's going on in the world of Backdrop. So the first blog post came out last week. We're planning on doing one every 2 weeks. There will be one next week as well. And I threw up a really quick blog page, backdropcms.org /news, which was based on a rough wireframe that came from the GitHub issue queue, or somebody was like, we should put meetings up here too. So I threw the videos of our meetings in the right-hand sidebar, and then I just threw a list of our tweets up there to kind of cover announcements. So it's just kind of a like tackled together page. I know there's some issues with like the size of it. Like if you have a really big browser, they just spread all the way out, which is probably not good. But it would be great if we could get a design review of these. I know, Darius, I said this to you, and you said you were busy last week. So again, what we have up right now is like minimum viable product. It would be great to get like a super slick product. Again, no super rush on that, but just whenever you have time to do a little review. So I just put 2 links in the sidebar, one to the actual blog post and one to the news landing page. And then, Nate, do you want to do a 1.3? Write the actual post for 1.3?
Yeah, sure. Just
okay.
These are all the new things in 1.3? Yeah, for sure. I can do that.
Great. So that's pretty exciting. And then next on our list of things for the Backdrop website is I would love to get a showcase site ready, our showcase section ready. And so this would just be someplace that anyone who's working on a Backdrop website can post a screenshot or maybe multiple screenshots of their website and then some metadata around it, like who created it, if a company was involved or a person, and a link to that website, and maybe like a short, paragraph description of it that maybe highlights some of the things that are cool about that website. So what I thought I would do for that is go to the Drupal.org showcase and maybe check out a couple of other showcase websites that are not Drupal rated, like see if there's company portfolio sites, or like there's a sites built off WordPress kind of gallery, and see what are the kind of important pieces of information that people like to take away from that, and make a list of the information that we'd like to show about each website. And then if we have that list of this is all the pieces of data that we want to put in the showcase site, then we can turn that over to a design phase and have something beautiful come out of it, rather than me just kind of throw a page on the website, which works if it has to, but it's not as good as it having been beautiful before I build it. So Darius, I don't know what your schedule is like upcoming. I know we have a lot of stuff going on with we've got our Backdrop training next month, which is pretty exciting. But if you have time to do a showcase thing, we could put a deadline on that with something that works with your schedule.
Making a note.
Jen, what about the news section we threw up based on Suttybun's just mock-up, right? And I think the news section looks great, you know, considering it basically was like, make it look like this, and then we made it look like that, and that was pretty good. But it hasn't actually gotten any design review, you know,
You're
we
like
didn't
5
actually
minutes
run.
behind everything I say.
What's that?
You say the same thing that I do like 5 minutes later.
Oh, sorry.
Like with the responsive tabs and with the like. Yeah. So there's two things that we've done on the website that still need work. One of them is the blog section. One of them is the profile edit page. And this is the third one, which is next on our list. So are you saying that we should not schedule next until we finish the last thing?
No, I'm just saying that we that we built it all out, but maybe having you know, Darius take a look at it to make sure that it's all kosher would be a good idea.
Right, that's what I said.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
But it's not super urgent. Was my follow-up is that we've got it up and it's fine, and whenever he has time, we can do that. But I thought it might be helpful to put like a timeline on some of the bigger stuff so that, you know, I don't know, Darius, how long it takes you to do a review, but I figured the design review would be quick, and like designing a whole showcase section would take a lot of time, and you might want to actually schedule that.
I was going to say, which is a higher priority?
I mean, I would say the news section is probably higher priority just because it's already up.
Okay. I think it's also easier to work with something that's already there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the showcase does sound cool. But you do already have that going, so. But yeah, dates always help, for sure. But I have been kind of busy lately.
Why don't we then wait on the showcase section until I get a list of content buckets that we want on that page? And if you want to set a date for design review for the blog news section, we could do that first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just wondering. Okay. So possibly by Sandcamp, you said?
Sandcamp
Was that vaguely a goal?
For what? For which?
For the news.
The news is up now.
But for the design review, I mean, because remember last time I did the design review on the profile, and it was basically like a redesign, right? So I know that's up, but it'll still take me a little bit of time to go in there and think it through.
Sure.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure I'll be able to do the news and then the showcase, because I also have some Bandcamp stuff I got to do.
Okay, well let's do blog news section then by Sandcamp.
Okay, cool.
And then we'll just wait until after that to start on the showcase section. I got to gather stuff anyway.
All right. I'm excited about Sandcamp. I got my tickets finally, so it's all happening. It's real now.
We don't have tickets yet. We should work on that.
Oh no. The sooner the better, right?
Yeah.
I think mine was about 170, which is pretty cheap.
Okay. And then okay. And then let's see, other things we're going to be eventually adding to the Backdrop CMS.org flagship website. Some of this other stuff might be easier than the showcase section, and I might throw it up whenever. An event listing thing so that people can add their own events to the Backdrop calendar, I think would be great. So that probably will be just a little form that lets you put your event, its dates, and a link to it, and then we'll automatically make some kind of a upcoming event listing and a RSS feed so that people can still get that onto their calendars if they want. And then service provider listing, again, same sort of thing as Drupal.org, where you can add a company and any information you want about the company, and then people can say that they are part of the company if they want, and then the company can be categorized into different services that it offers. So if you want hosting, you find a company that provides hosting. If you want development, you find a company that provides development. And I'll look a little bit at that architecture on how that works on Drupal.org, and we'll look at the architecture of how that may look on for other platforms. I think Symfony has a similar service provider listing thing, so I'll check theirs out too. And see if we can get that kind of going in the development phase too before we have to get around to design. So there's plenty of work to do in the background while we're waiting for front-end stuff to happen. So don't worry about that. And then we, of course, have follow-up issues from modules, themes, and layouts pages. That's just also development tasks that we need to actually make the information we want to expose to users exist. Right now we are collecting information, but there's no views integration, so we can't put it in views. It's not added onto a node in a way that is visible, so we can't display it via fields. So I think there's just a little bit of homework there for us to do on that as well. So definitely not blocked by design. Anyway, there's plenty of other stuff for us to be cleaning up on backdropcms.org. And I just want to throw this out there. If anyone wants to do any work on backdropcms.org, Nate and I yesterday came up with a plan to set up sanitized databases that people could download if you wanted to do work on the code base, so you wouldn't have to bother one of us and say, hey, I need a newer database. If we could have something that was just kind of available for anyone to grab and kind of go to town on, and we would have to fight less with like admin passwords and all of that garbage. So that could be fun. All right, into the swag category, I guess. We have t-shirts and hoodies. They're adorable. If anyone wants one, you can go to backdropcms.org/contribute and make a donation. A donation includes shipping in the United States. If you live outside the United States, just send us, or we'll get a notification of the donation, and we can try and figure out how much it'll cost to mail it to you and try and work something out. Or if you're going to see us at any upcoming event, for example, Sandcamp, and you want to test drive sizes or feel how soft they are or see how cute they are in person, that's also totally fine. We'll be taking donations on site at Sandcamp and can hand out your thank you gifts there in person. Anyone who is attending a Camper conference is welcome to use our open source Backdrop slides. They live in the Backdrop Ops repository. Anyone who is giving a talk on Badcamp and wants to contribute your slides, we would love to have more people contributing slides back to that. Submit a pull request. We'll take a look at them and merge them in frequently. We also are still looking for branding assets for Backdrop. I haven't looked at this issue actually since last week, I think. But it would be really great if you are a designer and you want to help us kind of create our online persona now that we're starting to use Twitter and Facebook more, and we've got this cool feature on our website that lets you upload a background image. We thought it would be great if we could use a giant background image for Backdrop that was consistent across all three of those things. So if you create a profile page on Backdrop and you don't upload a banner image, we could use ours, kind of set as a default. We don't have one yet. So if you're a designer and you want to help us make one, we have an issue on GitHub in the backdropcms.org Q issue number 121 that has a bunch of great ideas that Darius posted. Has an initial concept from Clickbox, so we're just going to try and see if we can get that going. And did see there's a comment here from someone asking if they can help. Yes, please help. We need help. So that would be great if we could get that finalized, or at least more progress made on it. And also, one thing that we're coming across as well, now that we're doing all of these user interface improvements to Backdrop, is it would be great if we could get documented guide of which user interface elements should be used where. We are doing things like starting to add settings in multiple places. For example, there's going to be permissions on the permissions page, of course, but then we're also going to start sprinkling those permissions elsewhere around the site related to what they're setting permissions on. So, for example, if you're going to create a content type, there will be a set of permissions on that content type form. These things are all going to go in vertical tabs. So it'd be good to kind of document like when you can duplicate settings in different places, how that should be done, where they should be positioned, when to use a vertical tab, when not to use a vertical tab, when to use a field set, when not to use a field set. We ran into some issues on the user account form with all of the email settings being in vertical tabs. That seemed like a bad use of vertical tabs because you might want to see 2 of those emails at the same time. So trying to rework the email page so that that's possible. Just having some kind of documentation about what field sets are for, when they should be used, what vertical tabs are for, and when they should be used, how settings should be handled, just so that people can trip when they're doing similar things. We'll have some guidelines to follow and not just kind of the Wild West out there in building your user interface. If anyone is really interested in studying this, documenting this, what we already have, we have a repository in the Backdrop Ops group called Backdrop HIG for Human Interface Guidelines. It would be great if we could get somebody volunteer to work on that and kind of help round it out for us. This is something I think Apple has a set of human interface guidelines, and it's one of those things that makes all of their touch devices so seamless. It would be great if we could get usability as great as Apple's. That's what we're shooting for. See if that works. All right, well, that's all we have on the agenda. But I wanted to see if there's anything else we should specifically talk about today. I know it's been a little while since we've all been here. Wes, do you have anything you've been working on lately? I know last time you had a ton of things.
I'm putting together my wedding site in Backdrop, so I'm hoping to get some knowledge off that. But yeah, I want to focus on layout and theme stuff, and getting layouts in core and all that, and thinking about like what the CSS architecture should be like, and what's cool and what's not cool, and all that. So.
Okay, yeah, that's great. We did our wedding website in Backdrop too. I found I went to ThemeForest, and they have all of these fantastic like HTML themes, and I thought it was really fun to try and take something that like wasn't intended for Backdrop or Drupal or anything, and like try and squish it in and see like what is the average designer going to be facing when they take like an HTML template and try and make it work for Backdrop. So, I'm not sure if that's your approach or not, but I found it really insightful.
My partner's an illustrator, and I'm a designer developer, so if we didn't do it all ourselves,
there you go. Hi, Mike. Welcome to the design call. We actually just wrapped up, but I wanted to see if anyone had anything else to add. Open Q&A section. We were talking about working on layouts for 1.4. No?
Hello.
All right. Well, then I think maybe we'll wrap, and I'll get some coffee, and then we'll do this again in half an hour for the developer meeting. But thank you all for coming, and thanks so much for all of the hard work everybody's been putting into all of the amazing things that are going to come out in 1.3 tomorrow. So go team.
Okay, I'll talk to you guys some of you guys in 30 minutes. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Here we go.